It is now my great honor to introduce the Honorable Brett Busby for the Supreme Court of Texas.
Well, thank you very much, Benji, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with y'all. I'm Brett Busby. You all elected me to the Supreme Court of Texas in 2000. I was appointed by Governor Abbott before that in 2019, and I'll be running for my second term in 2026. Before that, I served for 6 years as a judge on the Court of Appeals in Houston, and before that, I was a Republican precinct chair in Houston. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you to all the grassroots leaders here who have helped elect Republican judges up and down the ballot. Thank you for what you did. And you just heard from Chief Justice Koch what a huge impact it made in Dallas. And I'm here to tell you it was even better than that because we elected 28 new Republican appellate judges all across the state in the last cycle. It's my honor to serve on the Supreme Court of Texas. I'm a seventh-generation Texan, third-generation Eagle Scout. Grew up in Amarillo and Austin. Had my law practice in Houston. Was a partner at a large law firm there. Volunteered my time for conservative causes in my law practice. Worked with First Liberty Institute on religious freedom issues. With the Texas Homeschool Coalition on parental rights issues. But I could see in my own practice that there were judges out there who didn't understand what the proper role of a judge was, who were bringing their own policy views and not deciding cases based on what the Constitution and laws actually say that you supported and voted for, and your legislators that you elected, that we're there to apply fairly in every single case. And so my wife said, why don't you do something about it? So I stepped up and ran for an open seat in Houston and served 6 years on the Court of Appeals there first. And that's what we're there to do now. And we have a very good conservative legislature. We have a conservative constitution. And so we are here to be sure that those conservative principles that are enshrined in the Texas Constitution and in our statutes, that we apply those deciding cases. But I don't know if you knew this, and I want to mention this because we on the Texas Supreme Court are also elected to regulate the legal profession and the judicial system. So part of what we do is we're the highest civil court in the state. But we are also charged by the Texas Constitution to have exclusive jurisdiction over things like legal licensing. And I've seen over the past 5 years that our legal profession is badly in need of regulatory reform to make the system better and less expensive for all sectors. But unfortunately, there are very powerful special interests who are opposed to this, and we need your help to make it happen. So let me start with this. How many of y'all think lawyers cost too much? Me too. I mean, we get a good salary, and we could do a lot better for our judges. Our judicial salaries, and I appreciate Jennifer mentioning this, are 48th in the country. For Texas, I would hope we could do a little better than that at attracting good qualified men and women and keeping them on the bench. But I couldn't afford to pay a lawyer for a couple of weeks on a case that I had to have in court, and the statistics are just really terrible. And the reason, of course, is that the legal profession is a monopoly, and there are good reasons for that, right? We want people who are qualified, we want people who are ethical, who are not going to take advantage of their clients. But anytime you have a monopoly, the cost is going to go up and the supply is going to go down. And then there's all this demand that is not met. That's just simple economics. That's what happens when you have a monopoly. And so you can't meet the demand. So for low-income Texans, get this, 90% of the civil legal needs of low-income Texans are not being met in this state. But even for people who make the average annual income in our state, there's just no way they can afford at several $100s an hour to pay for, a couple weeks of a lawyer's time to go and handle a case in court. And so we've got to do something about this because access to justice shouldn't be only for wealthy people who can afford to protect their rights and defend their freedoms in the courts. And I hope you agree with that. Access to justice is essential to our shared confidence in the rule of law and being sure that everybody gets a fair shake from the legal system. So what can we do about this problem? There are several ways to fix it, and I'm committed to ensuring that we do. One easy way is to increase the supply of legal services by licensing trained legal paraprofessionals who can provide simple legal services and charge you lower rates. Right. Think about physician assistants or nurse practitioners in the legal profession. In the medical profession, you don't have to wait a long time to go see a nurse practitioner, get a prescription for a simple kind of medical problem, and you don't have to pay all that money. And so, why can't we do that in the legal profession? Well, they've done it for decades in England and Canada. And the leaders on this in the United States were Arizona and Utah. And they've done it for several years there, and it's been hugely successful. I had a chance to visit with Ted Cruz about this issue when I was up in D.C. He worked on this issue in the dental profession, and he is so excited that we're tackling it in the legal profession. I put together a committee to study this issue of lawyers all across the state, and we have rules out now that we've issued to make this happen. Basically, just to be sure we're deregulating the legal profession as an economic freedom issue to be sure that people can afford legal representation. But unfortunately, the protectionists are out there. The liberal fat cats in the state bar are asking the legislature to block these rules to preserve their monopoly and their high rates, especially in the family law area. And so you need to know about that. These are the same folks who were trying to take Ken Paxton and Brent Webster's law licenses away, by the way. And so there are also big government types in the legislature who've been saying we need to take this out of the court's hands and regulate the heck out of it so that nobody can even go through the process and be willing to jump through all the hoops they want to put up to even get one of these licenses. So what can you do? If you agree with me that this is needed, tell your legislators to support the Supreme Court's rules on licensing paraprofessionals and help us stick up for ordinary Texans who are tired of high legal fees and don't give in to establishment special interests. Thank you very much.